Hey guys, Mr. Bowman here. Today's learning objective is in blue and we are learning to determine the perimeter of given shapes. We're focusing on shapes with straight edges only. We will get around to the circly type of thing in the next learning objective. And up top we got Engler helping us out. So I guess the first thing we need to know of is, well, what exactly is the perimeter? So that's the key word for today's learning objective, and the perimeter it relates to length, and it relates to the outside of a given shape. The outside of a given shape. So when you've been asked to determine the perimeter of a shape, you've been asked to find out, well, how long is the outside of a shape? So if you think of a square, all of those have the same length. If you were to stretch out that square, you would have one end, two ends, three ends, four, all of those. So if I stretch that square out into one straight line, how long would that be? So that's what we're thinking of when we're getting into perimeter. And I've got 4 questions on the board ready for us. And I'm also going to add in a couple and link to some algebraic concepts as well later on in the video. So question number 1. Calculate the perimeter of the given shape, and the first thing you need to do is, before you get into the calculation, you need to make sure every edge actually has a number next to it, and for that you often have to think a little bit about the properties of the given shape. So we can see dash dash on 2 sides. That is an indicator that those sides are the same length, which means the side on the left is also going to be 5 meters, and we can see the dashes up the top and the bottom. That means they're going to be the same length, so up the top will be 0.5 meters. So for this question here, the perimeter, I'm just going to call that P, that's going to be equal to the sum of each of the sides. So we're going to go 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 5 plus 5. So I've got all 4 sides there. I add them together, I'm going to get 11 meters. So that there would be the answer to the first question. We're now looking at shape number 2. And we can see there's a lot less information, more sides, less information, but the obvious thing we can do is we can see the dashes. So that tells us the shape over here is going to be 2 centimeters. We need to think about this long side, but that long side would be the sum of the short side over here and the short side over here. So if we put that squiggle there, that squiggle would move over here, and we can see this length and this length would be the exact same. So in our case, we've got 4 centimeters and then 2 centimeters down the bottom. So that side there would have a 6 centimeter length. The same logic applies to the base of our shape. We can see 2 centimeters and 6 centimeters up there. They would combine to get 8 centimeters. Now that I've got a number on every length, we can see every side of the shape has a number next to it. We can then go ahead and calculate the perimeter. I'll do it up the top here. So the perimeter is going to be equal to 2 plus, and to avoid mistakes, I always go around the shape in a clockwise direction, plus 4, plus 6, and then we'll carry on plus 2, plus 8, plus 6. The reason I do that clockwise thing is you'll be shocked at how many times you miss one of the edges, or you realize you haven't put a number on one of the edges, and that makes a big difference to our answers. So that there is going to get us to 28 centimeters. So well done if you got that. Hopefully that's making sense. We're now looking at number 3. So number 3 is pretty straightforward. All the dashes tell us this is an equilateral triangle. So let's add in the numbers. So those are going to be 7 and 7. In this case, our perimeter is going to be 7 plus 7 plus 7, getting us to 21 centimeters in total. And the final one, this shape, hopefully you know it, it's called a kite. We can see single dashes up the top. So that's going to be 3 meters. Double dashes down the bottom. That's going to be 6 meters. Perimeter equals 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 6. So 3, 3, 6, 6. I add them all together, I'm going to get 18 meters. So fairly straightforward so far. It's all about making sure you don't miss the numbers when you're adding them up and making sure you've put the numbers on each of the edges. I'm now going to pause the video, and in the bottom corner down here, I'm going to draw on an example as to how we could integrate algebra and work backwards to find out certain lengths. I've drawn on a blue shape, It looks a bit like a house, and what we know about the house is the walls on either side are probably going to be the same length, and the roof and the angle, assuming it's symmetrical, will probably be the same length. So let's say this here is x. That's what we're trying to find out. We know that the side here is maybe 8.5 meters, and the base of our house is, let's say, slightly longer at 10 centimeters. If the total perimeter is, let's say it's 45 meters. How long? Oh, let's get rid of that. Let's just say determine x. So this is the type of thinking I'm wanting us to understand. Everything to do with measurement, we want to work backwards to do things out. So we're going to start by setting up an equation. So perimeter is going to be equal to the sum of all sides. So this is just a wordy equation to get me going. So we know the total perimeter is 45. That was given to us in the question. That's going to be equal to x. And then don't forget, we've got a second x up the top. We've got a second 8.5 down the bottom, plus 8.5, plus 8.5, plus 10. So hopefully you see what I mean. X, plus 8.5, plus 8.5, plus 10. That's the sum of all of the sides. We're now going to simplify our expression. So 45 is going to be equal to 2x plus 27. So we've got 8.5 plus 8.5 is 17, plus the other 10, 27. We've now just got an algebraic equation, a fairly straightforward one as well. So we're going to go minus 27 minus 27. So that means 18 is going to be equal to 2x. And we're going to go divide by 2, divide by 2. X down the very bottom is going to be equal to 9. And at this point here, really, really important, don't forget your units, because x here relates to one of the roofs, one of the parts of the roof of the house. So make sure you let me know it's 9 meters. You may even want to explain it in words. You could do that later on as well. So guys, hopefully that video makes sense. We're understanding what a perimeter is. And we've also gone through a question where we form an equation and we go backwards to find something out if we're given the total as well. Thanks so much for watching again. Now let's get into heaps and heaps of practice.